everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, I have to admit, and I apologize for that, but sometimes life simply gets in the way. As you can see here in this video, we are in Subnautica, a very relaxing game. It is a game about oceanic exploration, and it utilizes many different forms of transit to do so. We are currently in the biggest sub in the game, the Cyclops. I have named mine the Olympic. I'm not going to get too in-depth with the story of Subnautica, but the basics of it is, you are a survivor of the crashed starship Aurora, as you can see over there. And it is your goal to somehow escape off of this water world. And you can get very nice posters that you can place near submarines and various constructed habitats. I'll give you a quick tour of my Cyclops. It's nothing really spectacular, pretty much the same as anybody else's, just a problem with the click spot on the ladder, I guess, but just a lot more storage in the Cyclops than most people. As you can see here, you also have access to a mech suit, also known as the prawn suit. It's an acronym that I don't know the meaning of, but essentially this is all my storage in the sub. And the reason for that is I treat the Cyclops as my own mobile base of operations. I didn't really see a need during my regular gameplay to engage in the base building element, because the game gave me a mobile base all on its own that I could use as like a mothership for either the sea moth or the prawn suit. I have to deconstruct those at some point, but let me just turn off some of these beacons. Don't need that. I'll turn that off for now, but we might come back to it. I think in this video, we're going to primarily do a biome tour, a world tour, if you will, of mainly the different locales in Subnautica. I may revisit this game to do more in-depth readings in the databank of, say, the life forms, the fauna and flora of this water world. For example, like this crimson ray. You know, you could read all this out and get footage of, you know, the animals B-roll, but plenty of other people have done that before me, and I figured I'd do something just a little bit different. As you can see, there is an abundance of bioluminescent life forms on this planet. almost everything is bioluminescent in some way or another, down to the minuscule shoals of herbivore fish, or whatever the technical term is for plankton feeding fish, to larger herbivores like this hoverfish, or these boring coral-eating fish. Almost every creature is bioluminescent, except for the predators, apparently. That right there is I forget the name of the fish. I believe where is it? Stalker. There we are. A fairly low, I don't want to say low level, but fairly early to encounter carnivore. I think the nighttime is going to wreak havoc on the video balancing and light levels, so I'm just going to explore in the daytime, I think. Before I really get too into it, I do want to apologize genuinely for being absent for so long, and unfortunately it's gonna happen again. I might try and release smaller in scope videos until the World of Tanks guide video, but as of right now, it's just gonna be a lot of work. How do I say this? I'm going to be working a lot in my personal life, so I might not have a lot of time to do the things I want to do with this channel. But that's neither here nor there. But please ignore my awful habitat that I built solely for utility. When I get time to play the game more, I will engage in the base building element more and more, but as of right now, to like get through the main storyline of the game, I just kind of threw up whatever. That's interesting. He's not supposed to be here, like at all. We are currently in a biome called the Safe Shallows. As the name implies, it's supposed to be completely predator-free, excepting the one I just committed vehicular manslaughter upon. It is a bright and sunny and beautiful tropical coral reef, full of incredible biodiversity. These large living coral tubes, an abundance of herbivores, and docile fish, like this bladderfish, or these, we want to stay away from those. Those are called crash fish, and I'll show you why they're called that. Just want to exit my sea moth. And you see this little guy here? I did a terrible job of showing you what they do, but you get the idea that they just charge at you and then explode. They're really an annoyance more than anything, since you can really just kind of juke them, you know, just kind of break their ankles, you know what I mean? Just outplay them. But we've got these beautiful boomerang fish. Their diet consists mainly of the coral that is in this area. But beyond coral, this, oh my god. I just ran over a lot of stuff. Oops. look at that. A peeper. With its one massive or two massive eyes. And a Gary fish. And over there you've got well, I forget exactly what they're called, but they look like manatees and they release gas. As you can see, I guess you can call them gasopods. But the safe shallows are just that. They are safe and shallow, excepting these relatively large formations of rock, which create rather striking elevation changes. It is a visually incredible area that, oh my god, it is a genuinely visually incredible area that sets the tone for a lot of the game, which is calm, relaxing exploration. Some may argue this is to lure you into a false sense of security, as the game ramps up in danger and difficulty. And this area is to simply let your guard down, you know? But to be perfectly honest, even the more dangerous areas of the game are rather benign, if I'm honest. Now, Subnautica is also a survival game. You have to manage your food and water intake as well. So periodically I will be hopping out to, cook some food on the way here. There we go. I haven't played Subnautica in quite some time, to be perfectly honest. So my aim is a little bit off, you know, with the knife. But now from the safe shallows in all directions, the first biome you will encounter is the kelp forest. The kelp forest is somewhat more dangerous than the safe shallows due to the presence of stalkers in the vicinity, the first carnivore that you will encounter in the game. The stalkers in and of themselves are really not that dangerous. They rarely target you, and when they do, you can drop shiny objects to distract them. As you can see there, they're playing with some scrap metal, some of their favorite things in the entire game. But the kelp forest is a substantially darker environment than the safe shallows, as the kelp itself blocks out a lot of the light that would otherwise reach this level of the seafloor. But to make up for that, there are large amounts of bioluminescent patches. In the distance, we can see yet another environment of the game. A reefback. A reefback is a gigantic living organism, completely harmless in and of itself. I believe it's a gigantic filter feeder, but it floats along completely harmless, and upon its back it supports a multitude of life, all plants, from brain coral to aggressive tiger coral. Life is abundant upon the reef backs. As with everything else in this game, they are indeed bioluminescent as well. Just wanted to check the time because it got really dark for a second. And now we are in the third environment you are likely to come across in this game. I believe they're called the Red Dunes or something like that, the Sandy Dunes. Let's see if there's a databank on that. Does not seem to be. Or the Sandy Reef or something like that. The Sandy Reef is dominated by this red grass and these strange pillars, possibly of long deceased, now I gotta stop doing that, long deceased coral. Judging by the particular shapes of some of these, it's hard to imagine that natural processes came to form something like this. That is to say, purely erosion. But here we can find a substantially more dangerous predator lurking among the grass, a sand shark. As you can see, they are ferocious animals that stop at almost nothing to incapacitate their prey, no matter how big it is, apparently. Kind of a little bit surprised he actually went after me. But as you can see, due to the lack of kelp, a large amount of natural light still reaches this area of the seabed. Unfortunately, it has just become nighttime, and we're about a quarter of a kilometer away from our base of operations. So I shall return the sea moth to the dock and return with the Cyclops in the morning, I think, to explore the rest of the world. And we can show off a bit of the prawn suit as well, while doing so, to explore the seabed and particularly deep regions of the game.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
You really don't need the flashlight in a lot of areas of this game due to the sheer amount of bioluminescent life available to guide your path. But we shall awaken nice and rested in the morning, ready to sail off and explore to our heart's content. Oops. There we go. I still think the Cyclops is easily the best vehicle in the game due to its versatility It serves as a massive mobile base of operations for anything you could possibly want to do, allowing you to safely bring any other ocean exploring tool, in this case the prawn suit, to wherever it is you may want to go to. It charges batteries, it charges whatever secondary vehicle that you bring along, you know. It just does everything. But as you can see, we're already back in the grassy dunes, heading toward these reef backs, and tangentially toward one of only 2 land masses in the game. As you can see here, we're coming across a fairly desolate biome, the name of which I'm not entirely certain of, but it's empty. I believe it's called a Desolate Reef, which is an apt name, as it contains really the bare minimum of flora and fauna to even be considered anything. The direction I am traveling in at the moment is toward the path of sea traders. Toward the path of the sea traders, which are a very unique Leviathan class organism in the game. They're completely docile and really don't do too much besides walk around and look cool. I'm pretty sure I went the wrong way, but no matter. We have arrived in yet another interesting kelp forest. One completely comprised of bioluminescent kelp. As you can see, there are strange, very aggressive organisms here called amp eels that seem to be attracted to the sub for some reason. Let me take the prawn suit out for a better look at everything. Amp eels inhabit a large variety of biomes. This one included. At this depth, nearly 400 meters, nothing, no sunlight. Yep. No sunlight reaches this far down. By the way, the prawn suit is far and away the easiest way to kill anything in this game. You just grapple it and then drill arm it to death. But, yes, this is the blood kelp zone, or one of the blood kelp zones, the southern blood kelp zone. As you can see, so named for these red pods of blood oil attached to these long stalks of kelp. Blood kelp is a useful ingredient in many later game crafting materials and lists. I do believe the sea traders are down here somewhere. Or at least the sea trader path is down here somewhere. And you can see there the telltale glow and distortion of a warper. Now I've completed the game, so these guys are no longer hostile to me, but normally they're quite the nuisance. I know I can make it down there quite easily, but I have to think about making it back to my submarine at some point. But as you can see, the game does get quite deep, literally. This blood kelp zone extends all the way to the southern edge of the map. This guy just made a fatal error. Trying to attack me, dude. Wrong move. You can just grapple enemies and kind of cheese them like this. It's fairly easy. And then just pop out and repair it whenever you want. It's pretty funny, actually. Another way you can kind of cheese these things is with the stasis gun. And the survival knife. By freezing them and repeatedly stabbing the shit out of them. Really easy, actually. But that's not why we're here. I do eventually need to make it back to my ship. But at the moment, I can show you a little bit of the acid river, which I've somehow managed to wind up in. I am lost, as it happens. But the deeper regions of Subnautica are dominated by these pools of acid, quite literally. If I were to exit my prawn suit and venture into them, I would take a considerable amount of damage. Now it's time to return back to the Olympic and show off a fairly interesting biome. I always mess up the keybinds when I'm doing this. Grappling around. If you get good at it, the prawn suit is the fastest way to get around in Subnautica. As you can see, I am not good at it. It's also useful that I happen to get lost here. As you can see, the blood kelp does create vines with large blood oil deposits like this. Very handy if you're trying to do anything remotely complicated in the game. To be perfectly honest, I don't think being in the deeper areas of Subnautica are really going to translate very well to the video. Just a whole lot of darkness. I picked a bad place to park. There we go. So what I'm gonna do is go to security island, because that's close to the bulb zone as well. I'm not terrifically worried about these ampules, if I'm honest. I can just ascend and be done with them. But I will visit one of the 2 above ground locations in Subnautica, as well as the bulb zone, which is a incredibly unique biome. I don't think I'm going to show off any of the leviathans in this video. They aren't exactly very conducive to relaxation in any real respect, to be honest with you. I'm gonna take a nap, I think, and hopefully, you know, that there's no real way to tell if the sun is rising or setting. There's no watch, or anything like that, which is...
Matches 7 of the 9 preconditions for stimulating terror in humans. Short-range scans show a cave system rich in fossilized remains beneath this area.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean to me. Actually, I do, but, it's kind of surprising I didn't hear it until now. But what can you do? You can see my shitty rocket platform over there. But we've got about 1.5 kilometers until we get to, well, 1.75 kilometers until we get to the security island, as it's so called. So I might indeed make a detour to the bulb zone along the way. What are these? I think I might have dropped these at some point in the past. I'm just now finding them again. Oh god. Or not. Okay. Definitely not gonna mess with those again. But we are going to take a detour to the bulb zone, I believe.
Vital signs stabilizing.
As the bulb zone is incredibly visually interesting. As you can see, we're simply just passing over the sandy reef. Per usual, actually, for this game. A lot of the game is sandy reef. It's a fairly common and rather iconic biome. I'd say almost more so than the Safe Shallows, actually. Excuse me. I think I'm okay. It goes without saying this game can be a little bit buggy sometimes. It was, you know, just a indie game after all. Sometimes even now you encounter some fairly strange issues, you know. Yeah, so about 1 kilometer in, I'm gonna take a hard turn to starboard, and that should bring us right in line with finding the bulb zone. And for those of you who don't know what the bulb zone is, it's honestly my favorite biome in the game, even though there's like not really too much useful there for you, you know. But nevertheless, it's incredibly Interesting. Something's wrong with this ship. Something's incredibly wrong with this ship. Oh, I see the issue. It's gotta be these little guys. As the name suggests, they cause things to float. So I'm just gonna drop them over here, I think. Away from everybody. You know, and more importantly, away from my submarine. This ship is still taking on quite the list, which is a bit worrying if I'm honest, but no matter. The bulb zone awaits us, and by golly, we're going to get to the bulb zone before the end of the video. Which is fast approaching, I'd say. I've been recording for about 40 minutes, and I want to keep my videos around the 30-minute mark, ideally. Unless it's an incredibly detailed video. I feel like really long ASMR videos just kind of don't, I don't know, they don't do a lot. You know what I mean? You get like diminishing returns the longer an ASMR video goes on, past like 30-40 minutes, something like this, you know? Okay. I'm a bit lost again, but luckily we found another biome. This is the mushroom forest, so called for these mushroom-styled table corals, which are very interesting. But alas, we don't really have too much time to linger here, as we still have to get to the bulb zone by the end of the video, which I believe is directly this way now. I believe. That glowing ray is a good sign, I believe, as they're commonly found in bulb zones. Or at least I think I just ran it over. Unfortunate. I am caught on some of this coral, as it seems. I think I may have to consult a map, as I haven't played this game in quite a while, and I do believe I am lost at the moment. I could have sworn the bulb zone was right around here, but I believe I've entered another biome entirely. Allow me a moment. Okay. I think I've figured it out. To be perfectly honest, this game is a little bit confusing to navigate without visual landmarks. Obviously you're supposed to build and use your own beacons, but for me that's a little bit cumbersome. just a little bit cumbersome to manage all those different beacons. Ah, there we go. Yes, you can see some of the bulbs now. Perfect. And it was in the right area. I just kind of messed it up a little bit, you know. And here we go. This is it. The bulb zone. As you can see, so named for the numerous bioluminescent bulbs on display. An incredibly pretty and atmospheric biome in the game, if I do say so myself. The sheer amount of bioluminescent life forms on display in the bulb zone is breathtaking, if you ask me. And that includes these rather annoying ampules, even. Which have a awkward click spot, as it seems. I should probably stop doing that. I have no medkits. But as you can see, these bulb bushes can grow quite immense. And rather spectacular. Along with these little hoopfish. The bulb zone also has bone sharks, apparently, that I forgot about. But I would have to say this concludes this video on Subnautica. This is something hold on. Oh, that's an egg, an ampule egg. But I would have to say this concludes today's video. And as a quick sort of update in the channel, be on the lookout for other smaller videos in the interim between this one and the World of Tanks Beginner's Guide video. Probably some stuff like Morrowind or Fallout New Vegas or something like that. Maybe even Daggerfall or something crazy. But in the meantime, I hope everybody is having a good day or a good night. You know, whenever or wherever it may be for you, I hope it's going extremely well. And I hope this video has improved your day just a little bit, you know. And if it hasn't, let me know in the comments about that. I'm sorry. But without further ado, I hope you're asleep soundly by this point in the video. But if not, let the video wind down on its own here. And I hope to see you in the next one.